Rick Haynes, Superintendent.
Dave Larson, Assistant Superintendent.
Kurt South, Business Coordinator.
Kim Piper, Director of Student Services.
Eric Heidenreich, Director of Technology.
Dave Shellhouse, Curriculum Director.
Dwayne Thompson, Director of Curriculum and Instruction.
Hello, this is Rick Haynes, Superintendent of Piqua City Schools, and we're here for Piqua City Schools Director's Report for March 2015. And as you notice, we have some laptop Chromebook computers on our tables here, and that goes along with the Straight A grant that we have received from the state of Ohio. That grant is in conjunction with Franklin Monroe Schools and also Milton Union Exempted Schools. And we've had several of our staff members, including Principal Teresa Anderson and also Sarah Atkinson and Tina Watts, working on the project with the content with PBS out of Dayton, but also behind the scenes to make that grant work. We've had our tech coordinator, Eric Heidenreich, working diligently with his team on providing laptop computers, because the exciting thing about the grant is next year, for 2015, all of our kindergarten students and our first grade students, which amounts to about 600 students, will have Chromebooks just like these going home for them to use to support everything that's happening at Piqua City Schools in the classroom. And so, Eric, you want to share a little bit about the behind-the-scenes work that you've been doing?
Well, since these devices are going to be going home, something that we wanted to do is make sure that that they were safe for our students. The devices were safe, so something that we've done was we've etched the devices. They have our contact information, our school identification number on them. And in addition to that, because they will be traveling back and forth to the schools, we are providing them with a very well protected case here, as you can see. And in addition to that, something we've been working with our vendors on is a longer than normal warranty. Typically, we would do a 1-year type of warranty with many of our devices like this, but because they're going to be carried home with small children, these are going to have a 4-year warranty life on them with drop coverage. What's special about these Chromebooks versus the ones that we have in our district currently is because of the younger grades, we've got them with a touch interactive screen with some of the content that is being developed for the grant. It was decided early on that having that touch capability was going to help the students transition from a touch type of device to the keyboard as they progress through the year.
And the purpose of providing these, as I said, was to be able to support what's happening in the classrooms. And our teachers and also public broadcasting system is basically working on content. But the other great thing is the fact that we can push out, is the term that Eric uses, other things that we currently use in our classrooms, and we can push that out to the computers and have the capability of all of our students using that at home. And the curriculum folks can jump in here, talking with the pilot teachers. And we are doing a pilot program that's starting here in March. The whole idea in March, April, and May is to work with our students and teachers in March getting used to the Chromebooks, do that in April, and then by the time we get to May, start sending these home with those 6 pilot classrooms that's working this spring. With the 6 pilot classrooms, the whole idea is to have students and teachers going through the process, getting used to having Chromebooks at home, looking at how we can use them to support early literacy, and also looking at how we can support other things. The teachers yesterday were mentioning one of the things they want pushed out is A through Z. And Dwayne, you want to share a little bit about what A through Z is and how that can help at home?
Sure. It is a subscription-based program, but it's very, very cheap. A lot of teachers have been using it for several years now, and it's a leveled reading system where you obviously start with the lowest letter A, and you work your way all the way through Z. It takes them to higher level content each time they go through. It's a lot of nonfiction, so it's informational text, and they really do a lot actually to gear toward boys, because it's hard to find text for boys to get interested in. So they do a lot of things with that, and the students, they read, and once they're proficient at one level, they move to the next, and then they just keep going through until they get to the end.
So it's a great resource that currently we're using in our classrooms, but we're going to start pushing them out to the computers and have that capability. Some other things that you all can think of that we can push out on these devices.
Starfall.com is another free resource. A lot of teachers reference that, and they try to get parents and students engaged with that. Very sequential, a lot of phonemic awareness type things. Teachermonstertoread.com is a fun
Okay, say that one again.
Teachermonstertoread.com.
Yep.
And it's not really teaching monsters, but it's just a really fun, cute, interactive website, and it's sequential. Students have to master certain content before they get to the next, and then they keep progressing really at their own pace. So. But it supports a lot of what we do with Orton Gillingham, which we've talked about, which again is a sequential learning process of learning to read phonetically and having the phonic-based reading program.
And Dave, I know you've done a lot with our new Eureka Math program with providing student support, parent support. How do you envision this helping with that?
There are several websites out there that help students just practice their facts. Facts, we're not totally convinced that that's the end-all be-all to memorize your math facts, but there are times that you do need to know those simple facts and you need to get those to memory. And today there's more games out there that students will engage in. We all grew up with flashcards where, you just keep going through the flashcards, which gets boring about after the first time.
I was going to say, you said that very excitingly.
Yeah, it was awesome. But we have now the ability to use these electronic games. I was actually out in the second grade classroom this past week, and I did some with a class, and they could have done that all day probably. I couldn't, but they constantly, can we do it again? Can we do it again? That's what we have to have kids be able to do, because math fact is repetition. It's do I know that pair? 6 plus 4, what is that? It's 10. And then eventually it does become memory. And the computers and the electronic games are really, to me, the answer to get those kids engaged in that repetition so that they do commit those to memory. And then once we have that, then we can go to that next level of doing the conceptual piece that Eureka really deals with.
And what you're talking about is if we could get our students to spend as much time on this and working with the content that's going on in our classrooms as some of them spend on Nintendo and Wii and Xbox, we'd be in great shape, because as you said, that really encourages the repetition. Our students are having fun. It's learning in a different way, and that's what's great about this pilot program, is the fact that we're really moving into a new age for Piqua City Schools with technology being provided by the district through funds from the state, and we're fortunate because this is a project that's over $1 million for us, but all those dollars are coming from the state of Ohio. It's not coming from our general budget, and so it really is ramping up what we're doing with the classroom and how we're supporting the classroom at home. And that's one thing we want to work with our parents on also with our pilot program, is being able to look at what else we can do to support parents to help their children learn in the home. And so we're excited about the project. And as I said, moving into a new age with Piqua City Schools. And I greatly appreciate Eric, greatly appreciate the two teachers, Sarah and Tina, that I mentioned, and also Teresa Anderson, our principal at Spring Creek, who's been working diligently behind the scenes to get this project up and running. And we look forward to some great things with it. And we look forward to our community seeing the red bags going home with computers in them to support what's happening at Piqua City Schools. Some other things that are going on. I know, Dave, we just talked a little bit about Eureka with this, but we had some good validating news this week with Eureka, and you want to share a little bit about that?
There was just a report released from a nonprofit organization called Ed Reports. It's kind of a consumer report for curriculum, and they have a group or a board of teachers and educators that basically go through and evaluate all of the different curriculum programs that are out there, and they focused on K-8 math for this report. And they looked at all of the publishers' programs out there, from the big multi-million-dollar publishers all the way down to maybe more independent publishers, and then they ranked them based on the alignment to the Common Core, usability, and a couple other different criteria. And when it all came out and it was said and done, there was only really one program that came across the board with high scores and high criteria that even was aligned. Many of the publishers weren't even aligned, so they didn't even go to the second and third levels of evaluation if it wasn't aligned in the first level. Okay. So there were several that didn't even make that, but Eureka was the only one that basically scored across the board at every grade level. Now there were some publishers where, you know, fourth and fifth might have been aligned and had green dots. That's the kind of what they used as their graphic representation. But Eureka was really the only one that had the green dots from K to 8, which you know, I think says a lot about the program and the program that we've chosen to use here at Piqua. And you know, I truly believe that we will see results from that because of the quality of the system. So it was nice to see that because it was an independent, you know, report. It wasn't, you know, a lot of these reports you got to watch because they're funded by publishers or, you know, biased groups. But this was a very unbiased report. So it was exciting to hear that.
Well, and it was great validation for the work that you and the committee that formed last year and started looking at new math programs. It's also a reminder to all of us that there are different levels of programs out there, and it was great to see when you look at standards both nationally and internationally, Eureka stood up very well, and it was great that we are implementing that here and ahead of many school districts from the standpoint of really moving into a different way of approaching math and making sure that it's hands-on, making sure that it's application skills instead of just memorization. So thank you for your work on that, and we love reading reports like that because it's good validation. So some other things going on, we talked about supporting homes and supporting our students, but also some work with supporting our teachers. And I know, Dwayne, you have been working with Miami University and what's called iDiscovery. You want to share a little bit about how many years we've been doing that and what the program is?
This is our 9th year, and I'm excited that I just got contact from Miami University just this last week. Pat Whitson is the director of the program, and they're kind of amping it up. They're changing some things. They're going to offer more rigor to the course, and she asked Piqua to be the first ones to join that because she said our program has been so successful. It's an ongoing dialogue between teachers. It's a professional development opportunity in math and science, even though we do have all of our teachers participating. I always say I'll offer it as long as there's interest, and I have to turn teachers away every single year. Yep. It talks a lot about STEM and inquiry-based learning. It focuses on not only implementing the standards, but how the students can apply them to real life and future careers. And it's just a really good piece. They'll watch videos, they'll do reading. Then the teachers have dialogue about how they're putting things into practice in the classroom. They'll teach lessons. They'll actually do some projects, and then they'll have that conversation about how they can improve upon their teaching and what they can do to help their students further. So it's a great course. You're participating in it. I think Kim has participated in the past. Eric has. And in fact, all of our administrators have at one point. So, and that in itself was unique. They do usually around 100 throughout the state of Ohio, and like I said, for the last 9 years, we've been selected each year to do that. So we're one of the longest running school districts to successfully implement it.
And the great thing is it gives a venue online for our teachers to have conversations. And the great thing is we have teachers participating from kindergarten all the way up through high school, and they can have conversations with people that they don't see on a daily basis because they're in different buildings. It also does a great job, I think, of connecting the teachers, but connecting the content. And they talk about how do you teach that specific content in math or science at your level, and they're able to make those connections. I think also they can provide some insight into their level to other people, because I think the junior high school people that are reading about what's happening in kindergarten grow a respect for those teachers, and vice versa. I think the kindergarten teachers grow a respect for the high school because they're hearing what's happening with content in those classrooms. And when you look at what happens K through 12, by the time you get into our junior high school with math programs, with science programs, it's amazing amazing what our students are doing, and the type of content that they're tackling and the different hands-on activities that our teachers are providing. So great program. Appreciate your leadership with that. It's a lot of fun, and it's fun for me being a student, and like I said, I appreciate your work. With teacher support, also, this is the time of the year that Dave Larson, our assistant superintendent, is looking carefully at recruiting for next year.
Yeah.
We're looking for superstars, so you want to share a little bit of what's going on there?
Sure. Yeah, this is the time of the year that we get very excited about the recruitment of new staff members. We are currently in the process of starting our searches, defining the open positions. That always is kind of dictated by some internal interests in transferring and things like that. So as those cards are falling, we're able to define what positions we're going to be filling. So a couple of really important things we want to share with our community. One, we use a consortium-based service called the Dayton Area School Employment Consortium for our application process. You can access that through the district website, or you can go directly to the Dayton Area School Consortium and look for Piqua City Schools. That allows us to really broaden our scope of potential candidates to the greater Miami Valley, and it's also linked to the Ohio Department of Education website. So anybody, if somebody is on ODE's website looking for jobs, they can also then go to the Dayton Consortium. So it's a very good service for us to be able to recruit a broad range of candidates. So that's really important, I think, for folks to know. We attend job fairs, educational job fairs at a lot of the local colleges and universities. We try to hit geographically most of the state with an understanding of there's a kind of a general willingness of how far people will move or relocate for a job. So we typically stay to the western half of the state. Typically people will move up and down 75 more than they will from Cleveland over to the Miami Valley. But we really we utilize that, and we try to find a lot of diverse candidates and people who can fill the needs that we have. Rick, as Rick said, we look for superstars, and that's a very general term. So we try to define what does that mean, and we're working with our principals and our teachers and other staff members to try to develop ideal candidate profiles for all these positions. So if we're looking for a high school science teacher position, which is always a difficult position to fill, what is that ideal candidate look like? So we know going in, and whether it's a building principal conducting the interview or one of us involved in the interview, we have a general idea of what are we looking for in that candidate. And then there are some general things. I mean, we want people who are very strong instructional teachers, people who have those instructional skills, whether they are first year out of college or they're 10-year veterans. We want people who demonstrate and have a track record of successful instructional skills. So we look at data, teacher data, to support that. We certainly ask questions to try to drive that. We look for people who are going to be good employees, people who are going to go above and beyond the minimum expectations of teaching, people who will work with students after school, people who will serve on important committees that we have. So that's really important. It's kind of interesting as we look for teacher candidates. A lot of what we're looking for is very similar to the type of learners that we talk about right now, which is the idea of a 21st century learner or STEM learner, which is we're looking for people who know how to problem solve. We're looking for people who are creative in how they provide instruction. We're looking for people who know how to collaborate and work on teams. Those are some of those general skills that we want to be able to find those types of people, because what we know is teaching now doesn't look like what it looked like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and it doesn't look like what it's going to look like 5 years from now and 10 years from now. So we need people who are adaptable, people who are flexible, people who are constant learners. So that's what we're in the process of doing. We're excited about the potential of bringing those types of people to work with our students here in Piqua City Schools, and we're excited. In a few months, we'll be able to start updating the community on people that we're bringing on board, and definitely, if there are folks out there that are watching that are interested in positions, certainly search the website or the Dayton Area Consortium for open positions.
Great. And I always, I know when we go through interview process, you mentioned some of the skills. Probably one of the biggest one is making sure that they have a passion for learning and a love of kids that we're looking for, because that's the core of what we do, and it's important for them to have that, because you can have someone who is extremely good at the content, but if you don't love kids and you don't have a passion for learning, it's tough to be successful with what we do here. So. Kurt, I know you've been working diligently with the project and all of your things you do. You want to share a little bit on the update of Piqua Central Intermediate School, and I think we have a date that we want to announce.
Well, we do. We continue to track on schedule and on budget, and we've set a date for our dedication, which will be open to the public, which is June the 28th from 2 to 4 at the new building. So there'll be a brief ceremony and thanking of the community and everyone who participated, and then a tour of the building afterwards. So that's June the 28th from 2 to 4.
And as far as the Piqua Central Intermediate building, you want to share from third floor down what it looks like on the inside and what's going on?
Right. They, as I've said before, they've really worked hard last fall to get the building enclosed prior to winter, anticipating a winter like we've had. And so it's been a comfortable place to work inside. It's dry, and they've started on the third floor, the classroom wing, and then they're working their way down. So the third floor classroom wing has the ceiling grid and the light fixtures, and everything that's above the ceiling has been installed and it's being inspected now. Painted walls, floor finishes, cabinetry is going in, and then also we have lockers in the classroom that have just now arrived this week, so those will be going in this week, and they'll work their way down from the third floor down to the first, and then through the office area, and then onto the gym and cafeteria.
Yeah.
And so we're scheduled to have our final inspections and occupancy towards the end of this school year, and then our June dedication, as I mentioned.
Great. And I know even though we've moved into the new Washington and the new Spring Creek, you want to share a little bit about the work you've been doing? You've been doing quite a few walkthroughs with those buildings. What's happening with those?
We have at Washington, the building is complete. It's only partially occupied because of things that have to happen with the rest of the redistricting. But our staff and our custodians are in there working. We're taking care of the building on the inside. We're learning how to push snow and where to pile snow.
And we've had a lot of it.
And we've had a lot of practice at it. And just take this opportunity as a shout out to our all of our maintenance and custodian crews that really have had a lot to do this winter.
Yes.
A number of them work most weekends to keep our lots clear and our sidewalks clear. Now at Spring Creek, we have the building complete, but the demolition of the old building is almost complete, and there are bricks outside the fence for community to get. They have been covered with snow, but hopefully we'll have the snow stay off so people can see those. But after that building comes down, then we finish the parking lot and the drive out to 36, and that'll be happening this summer, along with widening State Route 36. It gets 6 feet of new pavement on either side of the road. So that'll be ongoing this summer, and all of that will be finished for start of school in August. And again, another shout out to our staff and our students and our community at Spring Creek, because they have to drive on gravel, they have to witness the demolition and the noise, and sometimes that's a distraction. And they had the same thing when they were in the old building watching the new one be built. So they've had a lot of challenges to their normal routine.
and have done a nice job.
Yeah.
And I know on March 10th, we're opening the bids for the final abatement and demolition. You want to share a little bit about that schedule?
Right, the rest of the buildings, March 10th is our bid opening. The contractors will be awarded contracts after the board meeting in March. And then they'll start with, as soon as we have vacated the buildings, they'll start with their abatement and demolition of Wilder, Nicklin, Bennett, High Street, Favorite Hill. And prior to all that happening, our staff will be moving our materials from the old building into the new.
Yeah.
So a lot of activity happening this summer.
And before abatement and demolition, I know the one thing we're also looking at is scheduling commemoration events. And if you watch our Piqua City Schools website and also some of our press releases, we will be announcing those. I know we announced yesterday Favorite Hills commemoration event is going to be on April the 12th at 2 p.m. And the other dates for all the other buildings will be doing press releases to make sure the public is aware of those dates and times also. So this spring is going to be full of commemoration events for all of our older buildings. And as we move into summer, expect that abatement to start happening and also the demolition of the remaining buildings. So a lot happening with basically abatement and demo, but also with moving into that final new building. A lot of redistricting and reorganization going on. Just a reminder to all of our parents and community members, this year has been a holding pattern year in some ways. Our students that moved from High Street up to Washington and our students who moved into Spring Creek, we still need to do some redistricting. So those some of those students may have moved into one of the buildings, but they might be in a different building next year, and we need to keep that in mind. And also a huge shout out to all the students at Washington Intermediate School who have experienced the learning chalets, and right now here in March we're moving them back into the old High Street, and the learning chalets will be taken away over spring break. So those students basically have been experiencing several different situations and environments for learning, and I appreciate the focus that staff and the student body have had also on learning. So a lot going on with the construction, and we still have quite a bit to do before we get to the new 15-16 school year. And speaking of that, Kim, I know as we plan for the new year, countdown to kindergarten has begun, and you want to share a little bit about how anyone who has a future kindergarten student for Piqua City Schools, what they need to be doing.
Absolutely. Again, we are tremendously excited about the new school year, and as you can tell from all of this conversation that the staff here at Piqua City Schools is working very hard to prepare for that new upcoming year. But kindergarten is we're tremendously excited about this upcoming year because we're going to do some things we haven't done in the past.
Yes.
We're going to be in new spaces, so we've got brand new beautiful buildings. Our kindergartners are going to receive these computers and all the technology that comes with that. They're definitely going to encounter our great staff, our kindergarten staff, that if you've had any students come through our program, time and time again we hear just tremendous applause for their work and for the skills that students gain as they work through that kindergarten year. And then in addition to that, this year the thing we're the most excited about is that all of our kindergarten students are going to be able to have all day, every day kindergarten. So no more half-day programs. And those are all really just outstanding reasons to choose Piqua as your choice for your child in starting their school career. In order to do that, we have a new process. Parents need to contact our board office at or stop by our board office at 719 East Ash Street here in Piqua. The phone number is 937-773-4321. You can contact anybody there at the office, speak with anyone at the office, really speak with anybody at the Washington site or the Spring Creek site. Mr. Haynes has also offered to talk with him directly about registration and how you can get your child enrolled at Piqua City Schools. So hopefully you've seen some of the signage that's out at our buildings, that's on our webpage. again, can't speak enough about how excited we are about this incoming class and all of the just all of the great things that are going on here at Piqua City Schools that should attract our community and really possibly others to come into Piqua City Schools and choosing Piqua City Schools as the place for your child to receive their education. So I don't know if there's anything in addition to add.
I think that's good.
But,
So Countdown to Kindergarten has begun.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
registration at the
It's
central
open
office at
and we're ready.
937-773-4321. And all of this today we've been talking about, education is changing and looking different with technology and some of the things that we're doing with curriculum and content. And just a question to all of you. What else do you see that's going to be in the future for education here at Piqua City Schools, and what work that you're doing with our teaching staff and with our students? What's ahead?
I see more work between curriculum and technology. We continue to talk about what we can do differently with our budgets and our funds to not only spend them wisely, but to really engage students with technology type things that are more current, more up to date, more engaging than the old textbook kind of materials that we used to use. So we're, in fact, I'm still looking at some new e-tech opportunities. We just upped our subscription for a 4th grade e-tech book that we piloted this year that went really well. And in doing so, they're going to let us pilot the 8th grade version of it. So we're going to get it into some junior high and see how junior high students can do that. And it's not something we just jumped into because, in the early parts of it, there were some issues. But Eric and I and Dave, we continue to talk about those things, watch it carefully and look at it, and just trying to look at how we can continue to work together and put our efforts toward products that will make learning engaging and at its best. So I think in the future you're going to see more of this, and I think it'll be a great thing.
Great.
Yeah, I would agree. I think what we're going to have to do as a district and as a profession is to make that transition, because we're getting some new teachers that kind of live in this realm, but a lot of us that did not grow up as digital natives, we have some things to learn, and I think that's going to be probably the biggest challenge over the next few years as we shift into that technology-driven environment, like Dwayne's saying, which I think has to happen because we have to engage students where they're at. It's going to be a challenge professional development-wise to get everybody up to speed so that they know how to teach this way, because a lot of us, we weren't taught to teach this way. We were taught more traditional manners, and I think we're going to miss the boat if we don't go this route, because we have a generation of kids that really need to be engaged with what tools they have grown up with. And if we don't do that, I think we're doing the kids a disservice.
And I think technology provides great flexibility. And with what we're doing with the pilot project with the Straight A grant, a prime example of learning doesn't just take place at school.
No.
It happens 24 hours, 7 days a week, and we need to be able to support the learning that's going on as a school district, no matter where our students are at and what they're learning, and we can continue to help guide and facilitate that, which is our role. So,
Yeah, I think with that, the flexibility that we're going to have in the next generation of learning is going to be really, really important. That we understand. We've seen this from a secondary level with post-secondary options, dual enrollment options, students that are part-time Career Center students, part-time Piqua City School students. That is going to be lowered to younger students. The flexibility of what learning looks like is going to be so different. And we talk about technology. Technology. We're as educators, as an education community, kind of coming to grasps with the social media component of education and some of these other things. And technology is flying by us right now. And with artificial intelligence and technology and things like that, those are things that we're going to have to make sure when we talk about our ability to be proficient with technology. I mean, I'm sure Eric could talk to that for hours, but And you can if you want to right now.
Thank you.
But I think that our ability to embrace that and really understand it as instructional leaders, what that's going to mean for learners, it's hard to predict exactly what it's going to look like.
I would echo that we are committed to meeting every student's needs. So there will definitely be challenges for some of our students, but we need parents to be thinking that employability is possible and expected for every child. And so employability is the end goal, whether you go right from your high school education or whether you continue with post-secondary education options. And that all of these things, all of these processes as they change, that we do have an expectation that even if children are disabled or if they need challenged in a higher way, that Piqua City Schools is always going to keep that continuum in mind, and that our focus is going to be on bringing every student to their potential. And that we need, again, that's not just a school process, that's a family school connection, community connection, and that we'll be looking for resources within our community in order to assist us in ways. We certainly do have many students who are challenged by meeting the physicality of the school day, persevering on task because of attention issues or focus issues or other issues that they may have. And so those are all pieces to this bigger puzzle that we're going to continue to address as we meet those ongoing changes. And we're channeling them. But we need your help, and we need your bigger thinking about how to meet those.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I would add to that the term we've heard for the last 2 years, and especially this year, the phrase is college and career ready. Mm-hmm. And it's real. And what we continue to hear is that it's college and career ready. That we're not.
End goal.
One of the things that I've heard recently is college, career, and social emotionally ready. That our kids are leaving here, not that we don't get so focused on just getting them ready for whatever career they're going to work in, but how are they going to be functioning citizens, and that social emotional
Absolutely.
component of what we do here is crucial. We don't miss that with the college and career component. So I think if I had to sum it up with something, it would be college, career, and social emotionally ready.
And if we look at what's happening at Piqua City Schools, we have new buildings coming online. We put extended learning areas into the buildings. A good step toward the flexibility needs to be happening, and everything that's going on, just not new buildings, but a lot of new things happening within the schools and also outside the schools with technology, reaching out to homes, reaching out to our parents, being able to support our students anywhere that they're at through good facilitation of great learning, and that's what we're all about. So appreciate all the work that all of you do. Huge thank you to our community again. It's great to be in a place that has a great teaching staff and also a very supportive community, understands the importance and values of education, and allows for us to work with you and provide a great education and great opportunities for our students. On behalf of everyone at Piqua City Schools, this has been Piqua City Schools Director's Report for March 2015. Thank you very much.